everybody, this is D Hunter for another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane DC Multiverse Green Arrow from Longbow Hunter. It's a comic series, but it looks like a pretty standard, traditional looking Green Arrow. It's not the fully classic version with the short hat and the sort of Robin Hood look. I mean, this one does have a Robin Hood look, but it's a little bit more modern than that. I appreciate getting a Green Arrow like this. I'm really looking forward to this figure. I printed this guy from the McFarlane toy store, so let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see at the top, 22 moving parts. McFarlane Toys Digital, which I care nothing about. DC Direct, Green Arrow, ages 14 plus. Here he is in package. We have a bow, a bunch of arrows, and I'm assuming he has a quiver to put the arrows in on his back. We have a display stand, collector's card, and then the digital code. One side of the package, Green Arrow from Longbow Hunter. Other side, pretty blank. At the bottom, there's the barcode. And at the back, here's a close-up of Green Arrow from that comic. So with no further ado, let's open him up. And I did get this entire wave from the McFarlane toy store. Superman, the Atom, and Green Arrow. I got these for half off. Even after shipping and taxes, I paid $50 even. McFarlane gave me a code because I redeemed the digital figures from the first wave. So, pretty cool. Hopefully, I'll get something for doing these digital figures, which I care nothing about. Alright, now that this figure out of the package, here he is with all the accessories laid out. We have a large bow, a bundle of arrows, a single arrow, he has a quiver on his back that'll hold those, display stand, collector's card, and the card to redeem the digital code. Before I deal with all that, let's talk about and check out the figure. So this is Green Arrow. His real name is Oliver Queen. He's a wealthy individual with no superpowers. His archery skills is what he uses to fight crime in Seattle, and is a member of the Justice League. This particular version is from a comic called Longbow Hunter, which I'm not familiar with, but I like the look. So, kind of sort of a Robin Hood look to him, to a point. Hood over the head, domino mask, signature beard and goatee type thing. It looks good. My biggest complaint is going to be the point of the hood is a little bit to his left. So he kind of has to look to the side or have it a little bit off center. I'd love at that point right above his nose. But then he has to kind of look to the left a little bit. It's a very small thing, but it's definitely annoying. I don't know if my hood is glued on a little bit crooked or if they're all like this. He's got the quiver on his back. Nice texturing on the area on the outside, and then the shirt below is smooth. Double jointed elbows, double jointed knees, tall green boots. Looks like a pretty nice classic Green Arrow, but not too campy. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt, you can kind of see what I mean about the hood not being lined up exactly the way I'd like it. Nice stitching on the hood though. Now let's check out his accessories, starting off with the boring stuff. Here's the display stand. Typical McFarlane display stand we've seen a million times before. Only difference is this one says McFarlane Toys Digital on the bottom. Very thin, very basic. And for his collector's card, as you can see, it's an image of Green Arrow, close up on his face. He has the same hood, domino mask, and he's holding an arrow right to his face. On the back, there is a description. If you want to read that, pause now. And then we have his digital card. McFarlane Toys Digital. On the back, you can scratch it off and redeem your digital figure. Now, I have absolutely no interest in this, but I will be redeeming the figure because it got me a discount on this wave, and hopefully doing that will give me a discount on a future wave. And now we have his bow and arrows. So, one big bundle of arrows. They're done in green. A little bit of yellow on the feathers there. And the tips are green too. Would have been nice if they painted that silver. Exact same thing with the individual arrow. And then we have the bow. It's very long. It's wooden. Has a little bit of wrap here, which is painted the same brown color as the bow, which is kind of annoying. And it doesn't have a string. I could see some people maybe adding their own sort of stretchy string from bottom to top. So for now, you'll just have to pretend it's there. Here's Green Arrow holding his bow and arrows. You can put the one arrow between his two fingers. Makes for a pretty nice pose, although a string, I think, would have been nice, even if it was a plastic string. And here are the arrows into the quiver on his back. Looks pretty good. And I wanted to talk about his hands for a second. He's got one set of hands, and it's very specific for holding his bow and arrow. And I appreciate that, but I wish he had some other hands. At least his right hand, that sort of weird one that holds the arrow between the two fingers. That way, when he's not specifically shooting his bow and arrow, he would look kind of normal standing there, interacting with other characters, etc. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at the figure and his accessories, let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, standing about 7.1, maybe 7.2 inches tall, which could translate to just over 18 centimeters. And for his articulation, starting with his head, now it can be a little bit hard to access, but holding the beard can really help you. He can look up, down, full range of motion there. You can rotate his head from one side to the other, in case you have him pointing his bow in each direction. Now I do wish they made the hood kind of like they did the White Knight Azrael, and that thing could rotate with him. That way if he's looking a certain way, it would be like this, or like this, but unfortunately that's just not how it is. You can sort of pull the hood back, and you can see his blonde hair. Looks pretty nice. I could even see some people maybe trimming the entire hood off, but looks pretty good like this. Shoulders, a ball joint, goes out a tiny bit more than 90 degrees, up, down, around. Looks like he does have that butterfly ring. Increase that range of motion and cover the gap that might be there. Bicep cut. Double jointed elbows. His wrist can rotate and hinged. His torso, he's got a ball joint in the waist and it rotates around, forward and back at least a little bit. I imagine he has a little bit more articulation here under this sort of soft goods, but it's totally useless. Legs complete as splits, McFarlane style hip joints. Rotation, it's decent. They go forward about that far, back not very much. Double jointed knees, and you can sort of notice the discoloration of the knee compared to the rest. Ankles, forward and back, rotate, tilt, rock, and to articulation. Here's a look at Green Arrow posed up in the city streets of Seattle. Here's a look at Green Arrow on a rooftop, getting ready to fire on Sportsmaster below. Now let's check them out. Next to some of their action figures, starting off with some of their Green Arrow figures. Here he is, next to my favorite McFarlane Green Arrow. This is from Injustice 2, and this was the Page Puncher version. This one had the hat on, with a little feather sticking out, a signature look for Oliver Queen or Green Arrow. Now he also has this hooded look, and I think this is actually my favorite one. I like the classic look, but it's not classic and campy. It looks good. This has been my default one until now, and I've sort of fudged him with my comic collection, although he's from the video games, and that's always sort of bothered me a little bit. But now, I do have a proper comic one to put into my Justice League. McFarlane's actually made 3 different versions of the Injustice 2 Green Arrow. On the far left, this was a standard McFarlane release, and the second one was in their Page Puncher line, and the third one was a Platinum Chase variant of the first one. So here are all the different McFarlane Green Arrow figures they've made. They've covered most of his looks. Of course, we have the TV show version. We have a more modern version here. Then we have this hooded version. I wouldn't mind seeing a classic one like him with a hat similar to this guy. And I could totally see them giving this guy another release just without the hood and a different head with a hat on it. Seems like a McFarlane thing to do. And here he is, next to all of my DC Direct Green Arrow figures. These are all based off the TV show Arrow, which really elevated Green Arrow's popularity. Then, next to the Mattel DC Universe Classics Green Arrow, this is about the most traditional look. I would love McFarlane to make one like this. And this is an old school campy version. This is probably how it looked in the 90s. Here's my entire collection of Green Arrow figures by McFarlane, Mattel, and DC Direct. Here's Green Arrow next to a custom Oliver Queen in a civilian attire that I made a long time ago. This head came from a DC Direct Oliver Queen figure. He was shirtless, training from the TV show Arrow. Popped it onto a suited body. I think it works good for Oliver Queen, businessman, civilian, etc. Here he is with some of his supporting characters from the TV show: Diggle, Oliver Queen, Felicity. Here's this new McFarlane Green Arrow next to a McFarlane Red Arrow. Although I believe this is actually him as Arsenal, Speedy, Red Arrow, Arsenal, Green Arrow sidekick. And here are all of my different Red Arrow figures. And now, here he is next to a Mattel Young Justice Artemis. This is another archer that's on the good guy side of things in the DC world. Another sidekick of Green Arrows. Now let's check him out. Next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here he is, next to the rest of his wave. This is the second digital wave. We have Our World's at War Superman, Longbow Hunter Green Arrow, and Silver Age, the Atom. And here he is, next to the first digital wave. This is the DC Rebirth Batman, Silver Age, Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, and DC Classics, Aquaman. Then, next to the recent Platinum Wave, Sportsmaster, Manhunter, and the New 52 Reverse Flash. More Platinum figures, and it's getting a bit much. It looks like they're going to keep this trend of Platinum Waves going on. And now, next to the Entertainment Earth exclusive Sketch Hush Batman, here's Green Arrow, next to the Target exclusive Jim Gordon in the Rookie Suit versus Mr. Bloom 2-pack. And here he is, next to the Target exclusive Metallo and Fire. Then, next to the New 52 Cyborg Superman and the DC Rebirth Tim Drake Robin. And now, with the Nightfall Batman vs. Bane 2-pack. Here he is, next to the Morgan Freeman Dark Knight Trilogy Lucius Fox. And finally, next to the Joker on Punchline 2-pack. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you want to know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a McFarlane figure, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work way smaller. But first, let's check him out with some of his McFarlane Toys brothers. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. And now, with some Jack specific wrestling figures and some Diamond Select toys, here's Green Arrow next to a ball of yarn. And here he is, next to some DC Direct and NECA figures. Then, with both some Mattel and Jazzwares wrestling figures. And now, with both some Mezco and Mattel DC figures. And next, with some Mafex and Hasbro Marvel Legends. And finally, with some SH Figure Arts and some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. So overall, it's a pretty nice Green Arrow figure. His articulation's good, it's a little bit rough to use his head. His accessories are nice, the bow, although I wish I had a string, it would just look better in photographs, although a big plastic string can be ugly, but they could have put like a little stretchy thing in there. And his hands, I wish he had at least one more right hand. I hate that he's like stuck in that weird, awkward arrow holding pose. The body's nice, articulation's pretty good, maybe a little bit rough in the ankles. But I like him. This is my favorite Green Arrow from McFarlane so far. If I were to rate this guy, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. It was tempting 7.5, but I think I'm going to land him at a 7. It's a good figure, not great, but better than good. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add it in the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate we do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.